The ocean at night is a lie we tell ourselves. From the deck of a ship, the water looks calm, black velvet stitched with moonlight. But a few miles below that shine, the sea becomes something else entirely. A pressure-built world where metal creaks, glass complains, and every living thing has learned to survive inside a crushing, eternal dark. And down there, beneath the last reach of sunlight, beneath the last drifting plankton glow, there is a predator so rarely seen alive that, for a century, humans knew it mostly as evidence. Not a photograph, not a scream. Evidence. A hook-shaped scar on a whale's skin. A beak hard as horn left behind after everything else dissolved. A limb crown hauled from a stomach like a message from the abyss. Its name sounds like a warning. Colossal Squid. Mesonychoteuthis Hamiltoni. And if you could watch it in its true home, where the water is near freezing, the silence is total, and the darkness is so complete it feels solid, you wouldn't call it a monster first. You'd call it ancient, not in years alone, but in design. In the way it seems built for a planet that is mostly water, mostly unseen, and mostly unexplored. Because this isn't just a story about a squid, it's a story about how the deep sea keeps secrets, and how sometimes those secrets surface still alive. Far from shore in the Southern Ocean, the surface world is already hostile. Winds peel waves into white scars. Ice drifts like slow, silent continents. But for the colossal squid, the surface is not home, it's a ceiling. The real kingdom begins beneath, where the ocean turns into an alien landscape, a vast midwater void, an open sky of black water with no floor in sight. Here, depth isn't just distance, it's force. At around 600 meters, pressure is already punishing. Deeper still, every additional 10 meters stacks more weight onto your body. At 2,000 meters, depths often associated with adult colossal squid, pressure becomes a constant squeeze that would crush lungs to paste and snap a human body like wet paper. And yet life thrives here, not in spite of the pressure, but because of it. Creatures drift with soft bodies and slow metabolism. Some glow, some vanish. Some live as shadows, erased by their own light. The colossal squid belongs to a family often called glass squids, animals that, especially when young, can look almost transparent, like living smoke in the water. In glass squids, buoyancy is not just swimming, it's chemistry, an internal cavity filled with ammonium-rich fluid that is lighter than seawater, letting them float with far less effort. Imagine being built to hover in darkness, barely moving, barely wasting energy, waiting for the world to come to you. That's not a horror movie monster. That's a deep-sea strategy, a patience older than human history. But for a long time, humans didn't meet the colossal squid in its world. We met it in ours, broken, thawing, and surrounded by floodlights and cameras. In 1924-1925, the first undeniable proof arrived not on a net, but inside a predator. 2 arm crowns recovered from the stomach contents of a sperm whale, later used to describe and name the species in 1925. That origin matters, because it tells you how the abyss communicates, not by introducing itself politely, but by leaving fragments in the mouths of giants. For decades, colossal squids remained almost mythic, known through beaks, scars, partial remains. Whole bodies were rare. Mature adults, rarer still. Even today, Tapapa notes that no comprehensive description of the mature adult, male or female, has yet been prepared. A stunning statement for the heaviest invertebrate we know. Then came a moment that felt like the ocean blinking. In 2007, New Zealand fishers working long lines in Antarctic waters brought up something almost never seen intact. A colossal squid. It was frozen, transported, and eventually studied at New Zealand's National Museum, Te Papa Tongarewa, where a specimen weighing 495 kilograms became the most famous colossal squid on Earth. The world watched because, for once, the deep had delivered more than a clue. The squid had become an event. It wasn't just big, it was bizarre. As the specimen thawed, scientists found an anatomical detail that sounded like science fiction, but was painfully real. Eyes measured about 27 centimeters across, with lenses around 10-12 centimeters. Eyes so huge they've been compared to soccer balls. And those eyes weren't just large, they were equipped with light organs, a feature Tepapa highlights as one of the animal's most incredible adaptations. In the deep sea, where sunlight is gone, eyes don't grow big by accident. They grow big because vision becomes the difference between eating and being eaten. A 2012 study on giant-eyed deep-sea squids argues that eyes around this size can be uniquely advantageous for detecting large glowing disturbances, like the bioluminescent wake of an approaching sperm whale. In other words, the eyes may be built to see the thing that kills you. Imagine that evolutionary pressure, not to see beauty, not to see color, but to see death coming through black water. Now picture the colossal squid as it likely lives. Not on a lab table, but in the abyssal night. It is not shaped like a fast surface hunter. It is shaped like deep-sea economy. A thick mantle, broad fins for steady control, a body that can drift like a hovering blimp. In many glass squids, the buoyant chemistry means you don't need constant jet propulsion. You can float, adjust, wait. And waiting is part of the terror, because the colossal squid isn't just big. It is armed. Unlike its famous cousin, the giant squid, Mesonychoteuthis hamiltoni carries hooks on arms, on suckers, and most chillingly, on the tentacle clubs that do the actual grabbing. Tepapa describes 2 rows of swiveling hooks on the tentacle club, hooks that can rotate through 360 degrees. A grip designed not to slip. A rotating hook is a simple concept until you imagine it in motion. Picture a fish in the darkness. It feels nothing until the water in front of it changes, the way air changes before a storm. Then 2 feeding tentacles shoot out like harpoons. The club strikes, hooks bite, and the hooks swivel, locking in as the prey thrashes, turning panic into inevitability. We don't know if the squid actively controls each hook or if the rotation is passive. Tepapa is clear: we don't know. That uncertainty makes it worse, because it means the ocean has built a weapon we still don't fully understand. And the beak, what remains when everything else is gone, is its own kind of signature. Tepapa explains how sperm whales eat many colossal squid, and while soft tissue dissolves quickly, the hard beaks remain, accumulating in stomach contents of stranded whales. The largest beaks measured from whale stomachs reached a lower rostral length of 49 millimeters. Evidence that some colossal squids could grow larger than the famous museum specimen. That's how the deep sea hints at scale. It shows you the mouth parts after the body is gone. And here's where the story turns from known animal to haunting possibility. Because if beaks suggest larger individuals, then somewhere in the cold, dark water, there may be colossal squids we've never seen. Older, heavier, with arms thick as cables and hooks like polished bone. Not mythical, just unobserved. The deep sea doesn't need fantasy. It already has distance. So why did this creature survive when so many species vanished? To answer that, you have to zoom out, way out, to the long arc of cephalopod history. Cephalopods are ancient. Their lineage reaches back hundreds of millions of years. And modern squids, soft-bodied, fast-evolving, difficult to fossilize, still carry echoes of those older seas. Recent work using fossil beaks suggests that squids originated and rapidly diversified by around 100 million years ago, during the age when marine predators and prey were locked in escalating evolutionary battles. Evolution in the ocean can be violent. Mass extinctions, climate shifts, oxygen crashes. But the deep sea can act like a vault. Cold, stable, buffered from surface chaos. In the Southern Ocean, life has endured repeated glacial cycles and extreme climate swings, and researchers describe the region's fauna as remarkably resilient across those changes. Now imagine a lineage of squids adapting into that cold, deep, circumantarctic world, where temperatures stay low, light stays absent, and the strongest selection pressures aren't storms or droughts, but energy, pressure, and predation by the largest hunters on Earth. In that setting, survival doesn't mean speed alone. It means efficiency. It means stealth. It means building a body that can drift for hours without burning fuel. It means seeing the faintest glimmer of danger. It means grabbing prey once and not letting go. Some researchers have even described deep-sea squids like the colossal squid as living with a slow pace of life, consistent with deep, cold environments where energy is precious. So the colossal squid's endurance may not be about being unbeatable. It may be about being perfectly optimized for a world that never forgives waste. And for most of human history, that optimization looked like legend. Sailors told stories of tentacles rising from black water, of ships dragged down by unseen arms. The myth of the Kraken haunted coastlines long before biology had names for giant squids. Modern historians of science have traced how such sea monster stories collided with real cephalopods, turning myth into a distorted mirror of genuine deep-sea animals. In other words, people weren't inventing monsters out of nothing. They were reacting to the ocean's habit of revealing only fragments, huge suckers, torn arms, impossible beaks, without context. And the colossal squid was the perfect fuel for that fire. Even scientists felt the emotional gravity of it. When Tepapa's team found ovaries inside the famous specimen, they posted the discovery with stunned simplicity. "We just found the ovaries. The specimen is a girl." Thousands of eggs hidden in the body of a creature that had been misread at first glance. That moment is quiet, but it matters, because it reminds us that the colossal squid is not an icon, not a prop in a monster story. It is an animal with a life cycle, mating, growth, risk, hunger, that we still barely understand. And then, in 2025, the ocean did something it almost never does. It let us see one alive. During an ocean census expedition, a remotely operated vehicle recorded the first confirmed live observation of a colossal squid in its natural habitat, near the South Sandwich Islands, at a depth of about 600 meters, capturing a juvenile around 30 centimeters long. The footage was taken by the Schmidt Ocean Institute's team, using their ROV Sebastian from the research vessel Falkor 2. Think about the symbolism. The first living view wasn't an armored titan. It was a near-transparent juvenile, delicate, almost ghost-like. And the person called to verify it, cephalopod scientist Dr. Kat Bolstad, recognized it immediately by what makes the species unmistakable: the hooks. At the press conference, Bolstad captured the tension between public expectation and scientific wonder. She acknowledged the monster hype, then flipped the story. We were meeting the colossal squid first as something beautiful and delicate. That's how the deep sea humbles us. We imagine a demon, then reality hands us a glass-bodied teenager drifting through darkness, still growing into the legend we invented. But that juvenile footage raises the stakes, because it implies something else. If we can finally find the young, the adults are still out there. Somewhere below the reach of those cameras, the colossal squid becomes heavier, darker, and more heavily armed. Reports and museum accounts describe mature individuals as deep red to purple, colors that, in the deep, become near black, a perfect cloak. In that world, color isn't decoration, it's disappearance. So how does it hunt? We have fragments of the answer. Clues from anatomy, prey remains, predator stomachs, and the physics of the deep. The colossal squid is widely considered an ambush predator, likely targeting fish and other midwater animals, something consistent with its buoyant family traits and the way it's encountered on long lines meant for toothfish. Picture the scene. A Patagonian toothfish built like mussel and torpedo moves through cold water tracking a scent trail. There are no reefs here, no rocks, only the faint glow of distant bioluminescent organisms, like stars scattered in a black sky. And then the fish crosses a boundary it cannot see. A pressure wave touches its lateral line. A shadow blots a patch of darkness darker than the rest. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's the void. Then the tentacles fire. Those clubs slam forward, hooks rotating, locking. The fish jerks, too late. The squid draws prey inward to the arms, where more hooks and suckers secure the catch. Then the beak, hidden under the arms like a weapon kept behind a curtain, begins its work. No blood cloud, not at first. Just silent disassembly. And if a sperm whale is nearby, hunting with clicks that pulse through miles of water, the colossal squid may be able to sense that too. Not just by sound, but by light. If giant squid eyes are optimized to detect the faint bioluminescent cues produced by large animals, then a colossal squid's massive eyes may offer the same grim advantage, seeing the signature of a predator long before the predator is close. That possibility changes the mood, because it means the abyss is not blind, it is watching. Still, the colossal squid's life remains wrapped in unanswered questions. Where do adults spend most of their time? How deep do they truly go? Some sources suggest juveniles occupy the upper 1,000 meters, while adults must reach much deeper, supported by the depth sperm whales dive to, and the beaks found inside them. How do they mate in an ocean where two individuals might drift for miles without ever crossing paths? How do they find each other in darkness? The deep sea is vast enough to make loneliness an evolutionary problem, and yet cephalopods persist, brief, brilliant lives in cold water, driven by instincts we can't fully map. Even the hooks, those signature weapons, carry mystery. We know they rotate, we know they latch, we don't know the exact mechanics of control. That we don't know is the heartbeat of this animal's story. For a century, Mesonychoteuthis hamiltoni has lived as a boundary marker, proof of how much of Earth's biosphere remains effectively alien to us. So what does the colossal squid mean to modern science? It's not just a curiosity, it's a blueprint. Its eyes help researchers understand vision at the limits of physics. Its buoyancy chemistry shows how life can reduce energy costs in extreme environments. Its slow-pace ecology hints at how metabolism adapts to cold, deep habitats. And its rarity, despite likely being part of the Southern Ocean's food web, proves how hard it is to study a creature that lives where humans cannot. It also forces a deeper question. How many other colossal animals exist in forms we haven't recognized yet? Because the deep sea doesn't hand us full bodies, only hints. The ocean census footage in 2025 wasn't just a viral moment. It was a reminder that the modern era of exploration is not finished. The expedition didn't discover a new planet, only the next layer of our own. And now, a theory begins to breathe. Carefully, responsibly, but undeniably. If juvenile colossal squids can be filmed at 600 meters, and if adults likely occupy deeper realms, then the true adult footage may require new kinds of cameras. Lower light, less disturbance, more patience. Scientists have openly suggested that future efforts could eventually capture images of the adults. When that day comes, it may not look like we expect. The colossal squid might not be a raging beast. It might be a drifting shadow with eyes like moons, moving with unsettling calm, built not for drama, but for inevitability. And if we never capture that footage, if the adults remain unseen, then the colossal squid becomes something even rarer in the modern world. A large animal that can still keep its privacy. That might be the most unsettling truth of all. Because we live on a planet where satellites map deserts, drones film forests, and cameras watch street corners, yet the largest habitat on Earth remains mostly unrecorded. Its greatest predators known by leftovers. The deep ocean is not empty. It is simply hidden. And the colossal squid is one of its most perfect symbols. A creature discovered from a whale's stomach, armed with swiveling hooks, crowned with the largest studied eyes on Earth, drifting through cold black water with chemistry instead of effort, alive, growing, hunting, and vanishing again into the pressured dark. So the next time you look out at the sea and it seems calm, remember what calm really means. It means the surface is behaving. It says nothing about what's below. Because beneath that reflective skin, in a world of bioluminescent sparks and crushing silence, something with rotating hooks may be hovering, patient as geology, while its eyes scan the dark for the one glow it fears most. And somewhere, deeper still, the adult colossal squid continues its ancient routine, surviving the way the deep sea teaches everything to survive, by becoming unforgettable, without ever needing to be seen.